There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding us. 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 We rest in this loving awe. We rest in this love.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to virtual worship at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Silver Spring. I am Catherine Lee, today's worship associate, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. The theme for worship this month at UUCSS is deep listening. On this Remembrance Sunday, we honor all those in our lives and congregation who have died and listen deeply to the wisdom they offered us for the living of our lives. In this time when it isn't safe to gather together in body, I'm glad each and every one of you are here, taking advantage of the ways we can connect across distance and difference in community that nurtures and frees us. Whether you are joining us live or watching this service after the live broadcast, I'm so glad you're here. I'd also like to welcome anyone who is joining us for the first or second time. Pat Holsabosh is our welcoming captain and would be glad to answer your questions in the chat. Pat will also be available during virtual coffee hour after the service. And if you are watching live, you can log in to Google to participate in the chat real time. To help protect privacy, comments are not available for later playback. But during the service, they're very public, so keep that in mind, please. And note that the live chat has certain safety features, and you won't be able to post special characters or complete web addresses because of that. American Sign Language interpretation is available in a separate Zoom room for those who are deaf or hard of hearing. And if you need help finding that link, please look here or ask in the chat or email VSTechSupport@uucss.org to get the link. In a few minutes, everyone will be invited to light our chalice, our flaming chalices. So now's a good time to go and get a chalice, a candle, a flashlight, so you can join in kindling the flame of community. First, let's take a moment to say thank you to all those who've made today's service possible.
In the dark of the night, around fires and candlelight, those of ancient days gone by would pause to remember. They would remember the names of those now dead. They would remember the beloved of their lives. As with them, this morning we gather too to remember. We celebrate all souls today, all those who have lived and died, the beloved of our lives, and the unnamed who came before us. As their lives were lit by the light of the holy, by that of the divine which burns in us all, we kindle our chalice in celebration.
Now is the time to light our chalice. Let us know in the chat that the chalice is lit and where you are. Please join me in the words on your screen as we light our chalices and reaffirm our congregational commitment. May this light warm our hearts with love and caring and guide us in the ways of truth. And now, our congregational commitment. As we gather here for worship, we pledge ourselves to the endless search for truth, to the right of each to believe as mind, heart, and conscience dictate, to accept the responsibilities this freedom commands, and to implement our belief in the essential worth and dignity of every human being. May it be so. Let's sing together. The words to the hymn, "For All That Is Our Life," will appear on your screen.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use, to build the common good, and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use, to build the common good, and make our own days glad.
The Memory Tree by Britta Teckentrup. There once was a fox who lived with all the other animals in the forest. Fox had lived a long and happy life, but now he was tired. Very slowly, Fox made his way to his favorite spot in the clearing. He looked at his beloved forest one last time and lay down. Fox closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and fell asleep. Fox died. Everything around Fox was still and peaceful. Snow began to fall gently, covering him with a soft blanket. Owl had watched Fox from the top of his tree. He flew down and landed next to his friend. Owl was very sad. He had known Fox for a long time, but Owl knew the time had come for his friend to leave. One by one, Fox's friends came to the clearing. First Squirrel and Weasel, then Bear, Deer, and Bird, and finally Rabbit, Mouse, and others came to sit by Fox. Fox had been loved by everyone. He had been kind and caring. No one could imagine life in the forest without him. The animals sat in silence for a very long time. Owl was the first to speak. He smiled warmly and said, "I remember when Fox and I were very young. Every autumn we raced to see who could catch more falling leaves." The other animals remembered and smiled. Mouse said softly, "I remember how much Fox loved the sunset. He always sat at this exact spot." The animals remembered. Many of them had joined Fox, watching the sun go down. It was a happy memory, and their sad hearts filled with warmth. Bear remembered how Fox had looked after her cubs one spring. Rabbit smiled when she told the story of how Fox had played tag with her in the tall grass. Squirrel talked about Fox helping him dig up buried nuts in the winter snow last winter. One by one, the animals remembered their favorite stories about Fox. Fox had touched the lives of all the animals in the forest with his warmth and kindness, and they all smiled, remembering. While the animals talked, a little orange plant grew out of the snow where Fox was lying. Small and delicate at first, and hardly noticeable, the plant grew bigger, stronger, and more beautiful with each story. The animals talked about Fox all through the night, and in the morning the little plant had grown into a small tree. The animals saw the tree and knew that Fox was still a part of them. During the next days, weeks, and months, the animals remembered many more stories about Fox. Their heavy hearts began to feel lighter. The more they remembered, the more the tree grew, higher and more beautiful, until it was the tallest tree in the forest. A tree made from memories and full of love. Fox's tree was big and strong enough to shelter all the animals. It was always buzzing with life. The birds built their nests among the leaves, and Owl raised his grand chicks on the branches. Squirrel found a cozy home in the trunk, and Bear, Deer, and Rabbit slept in its shade. The tree gave strength to everyone who had loved Fox. And so Fox lived on in their hearts forever.
I invite you now into a time of deep listening and deep sharing. If your heart is filled with joy today or with gratitude, I hope that you will share it with us because we want to rejoice with you. And if you're afraid or grieving or overwhelmed, I hope you'll share that too, because this community wants to help hold that with you. During the music, if you're worshiping with us live, I invite you to type your joys or sorrows into the chat box, remembering that everything shared in the chat is public during the live broadcast. In these uncertain days, we've all got a lot of joys and sorrows to share, so if you'd like a particular response, please email layministers@uucss.org and let them know you could use some support. But you don't have to be a lay minister to reach out to someone whose joy or sorrow touches your heart today. So please make note of those people you might like to call or email or send a card this week. And if you're watching this as a later recording, I invite you to take this time to hold in loving compassion all those in your life and in our world who are in need, and to give thanks for the good things in your life. Let us now open our hearts to the joys and sorrows this gathered community has to share. In this holy time, we remember those who have left us. We hold them in our hearts and our minds, and their memories and presence lingers in our lives. This morning, we lift up especially those members and friends of this congregation who have recently died. We remember Max Leeson, longtime member of this congregation, along with his wife, Kathy. We hold especially tenderly the whole Johnson family as they celebrate Pete's 35th birthday and mark this first birthday without his beloved twin brother, Tom. We give thanks that friends of Dean Kerrigan's were able to hold a ceremony a few days ago in honor of his 49th day of passing. During this ceremony, friends said sutras to help ensure Dean's rebirth in a better world. We give thanks for the friends who were able to help honor Dean's Buddhist spirituality and his memory in this intimate and profound way. And this morning, we honor the memory of the Reverend David McPherson, the first minister of this congregation, who died last month at the age of 92. We give thanks this morning also for all that we have, for the gifts that we've been given, for the treasures of the earth and sea, for the abundance all around us. In this sacred space and time, we honor the legacy of those who came before us, those who nurtured into being this community that nurtures us. With this beloved community, we look to the future to make real the dreams they dreamed and to build the just world for which they hoped. For these and for all of the prayers of our hearts and our minds, we lift up one another in the name of all that we find holy. Blessed be. Amen.
Blessed Spirit of my life, give me strength through stress and strife. Help me live with dignity. Let me know serenity. Fill me with a vision. Clear my mind of fear and confusion. When my thoughts flow restlessly, let peace find a home in me. Spirit of great mystery, hear the still small voice in me. Help me live my wordless creed as I comfort those in need. Fill me with compassion, be the source of my intuition. Then when life is done for me, let love be my legacy.
On this day of memory and gratitude, we remember the many whose love and nurture has helped us grow into who we are today. With thanksgiving, we remember our religious ancestors whose courage, hard work, faithfulness, and often sacrifice, gifted us with this free faith, with our shared sanctuary and grounds, and this beloved community of which we are a part. As we mourn those who have passed from this life and into eternity, let us also praise the miracle and mystery that gave them to us in the first place. In this season, when the nights grow nearly as long as the days, when the earth achieves a balance of dark and light, it is said that the barriers between this world and the next, between what is and what has been, are thinner. As the earth hangs in this balance, we remember those who have died, our beloved dead whose names we honor on our quilts, and those whose names are embroidered forever on our hearts. As the earth hangs in this balance, our hearts travel to the Isle of Apples to commune with our beloved dead, perhaps to say those things which we were not able to say before they died, or to listen for those things they were never able to tell us in life. As the earth hangs in this balance, we welcome the presence, the memories, and the love of those who have died. May this most simple ritual of images and song remind us of the great mystery of life and death that connects us to all that ever has been and all that ever shall be.
They once dwelled among us, the people of memory, they who knew us, they who taught us, they who hurt us, they who loved us.
They touch our lives time and again through their presence and their absence, through familiar scents and favorite songs, through old stories and renewed sorrow.
As the earth turns and leaves fall, we reach back to renew the bonds between us. With hearts and hands open, we hold on to love, ever stronger than death.
We reach back in gratitude and understanding. Without our time together, the pain and the joy, we would never be who we are today. We would have little to pass on ourselves.
Without fear, with thanksgiving, and with hope for all that awaits, we remember those who have gone before. We honor the circle of life and death and our place within the sacred thread.
Our reading this morning was written as part of a sermon by my friend and colleague, the Reverend Laura Everett, who is the director of the Massachusetts Council of Churches. The entire sermon is titled "When Heaven Tastes Like Jell-O Salad." Here's the excerpt for our reading this morning. Earlier this week, an older woman I met at one of the parish visits I make sent me a note inviting me over for a spaghetti dinner. "When you call," Millie wrote, "don't mind Jim's voice on the answering machine. I just like hearing him there." Years after Jim's death, and his baritone voice still greets those reaching out to his widow. All Souls is the church's way of gathering up our snapshots, pictures, email addresses with no one on the other end. Voices on our home answering machines, and holding these precious loved ones together. Perhaps what is so remarkable about the All Souls Requiem is not just the names on our tongues, but those unknown, and those whose faith is known to God alone. On All Saints, we remember the well-known. On All Souls, we remember the lesser known, the unknown. The winning design of the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C. taught us the power of remembering all of the names. All Souls invites us to recite the names of the dead. All Souls gives us the liturgical equivalent of the tomb of the unknown soldier, a place to remember all those who have died, who have no one to remember them. I think of an elderly relative who said to me recently, I've outlived all my friends. Who will come to my funeral? Today, we do the holy work of the church, remembering the friendless, the unknown, the forgotten, and the lost. We pray for those whom the weight of life felt so heavy they could not imagine another year alive. All Souls is the respect we pay to the dead and the reminder of life to us who still mourn. The accent mark is on the all souls, not just some of the souls, but all. Even the souls we found grating in life. We remember them today. All Souls frees the deceased from the plasticizing of automatic sainthood and allows us to have complex feelings about the dead. Again and again, church reminds us that we are bound together not by our own choosing, but by our common humanity. All the souls, not just those who worship like you, look like you, vote like you, but all the souls. Life is a gift. Life is a blessing. Along with liberty and the pursuit of happiness, life is an unalienable right. We wish others long lives, and many of us wish the same for ourselves. But our culture doesn't encourage us to dwell on all that goes into every human life: the labor, the attention, the love, and the resources. How many plants and animals will I consume in the whole of my life? How many paper towels will I use? How much detergent, how many cars, pairs of jeans, eyeglasses, contact lenses will I use in the whole of my life? And how many people did it take to make and sell me all of those things? How many people were involved in my birth? From my birth mother to my foster parents, social workers, and even the judge who presided over my adoption, how many people made it possible for me to reach my beloved parents? How many teachers, administrators, and coaches, friends and enemies, therapists and doctors, midwives, relatives, ancestors have been involved in my life? How many have made it possible for me to become who I am? How many have brought me to this very moment? How many life forms and products, legacies, and ancestors have brought you to this very moment in your life? When we hear the news that 219,000 people have died of COVID-19 in the United States, that 1.11 million have died worldwide, when we hear about people of color being murdered by police officers, people dying for lack of adequate medical care, when we see disturbed and developed over the graves of ancestors on tribal lands across this country and beloved sacred burial grounds like Moses African Cemetery here in our own state of Maryland, when people we know love and die, we must remember just how much labor and love, sustenance and caring went into every single one of those precious people. We must remember how blessed each of their memories is. We must remember just how interwoven they were and they are in our lives and the lives of all those who will come after us. Remembrance Sunday is a day to remember those we have loved and lost, those ancestors whose lives generations ago made ours possible. But it is also a day to remember the people no one remembers by name. It is a day to reflect on the totality, the immensity of all that is lost when each human life ends. and all that is carried forward in those who live on. It is also a day to remember that this life we share right here and now will one day end. Today is a day to pause and consider whether we are using the limited lives we've been given in the ways we know deep down that we should, in the ways we feel called to. How does knowing we will one day die inspire us to live in the days we have left? How are you called to contribute to the great symphony of life, justice, kindness, beauty, and legacy? Blessed Spirit of our lives, give us strength through stress and strife. Help us live with dignity. Let us know serenity. Fill us with a vision. Clear our minds of fear and confusion. When our thoughts flow restlessly, let peace find a home in us. Spirit of great mystery, hear the still small voice inside of us. Help us live our wordless creed as we comfort those in need. Fill us with compassion. Be the source of our intuition. Then, when life is done for us, let love be our legacy. May it be so. Amen.
I now invite each and every person tuning into the service, whether live or at a later time, to make a financial offering to this congregation. Your offering today will help fuel the flame of this community and make our ministries and programs possible. But most importantly, making an offering will allow you to practice generosity, to contribute to this community that could do more good together than any one of us can alone. This morning, we also have the opportunity to extend our generosity beyond UUCSS. It is the practice of this congregation to share our offerings with a community partner. And this month's community partner is the Bethesda African Cemetery Coalition. Here's a video of Dr. Marcia Coleman Adebayo to present the organization. You'll see her photo and also one of the videos while she's speaking to us.
The Bethesda African Cemetery Coalition, BACC, started by the Macedonia Baptist Church, is a union of volunteers, activists, community groups, and faith-based organizations led by the Social Justice Ministry at Macedonia Baptist Church that just celebrated its 100th anniversary. The BACC seeks to stop the daily, ongoing desecration of Moses African Cemetery by developers with the approval of Montgomery County government at the highest levels. We seek to preserve the rich history of this once thriving African community and consecrate Moses African Cemetery with a memorial and museum on River Road in Bethesda, Maryland, so that future generations will never forget the atrocities that occurred during slavery and post-emancipation in that space. BACC equally celebrates the spirit of resistance that occurred on River Road and resolve to be free. In fact, Macedonia may have been one of the sites of the Harriet Tubman's Underground Railroad. From 1619 to 2020, as a community, we are still fighting against police and state-sponsored killings of our children and to protect the sacred spaces of our burials. We fight from the cradle to the grave, and we fight on the battlefield of memory. Please join in solidarity with us.
During the month of October, you can give to Bethesda African Cemetery Coalition through the Give Plus mobile app. Choose special collections to join in UUCSS's group gift to them. If you would like to learn more, visit the Facebook page for Bethesda African Cemetery, or you can visit the links in your all-church email. Thank you. There are 3 ways you can make your financial gift to the congregation. The first is by the Give Plus mobile app. The second way to give is by using your phone to text a message to 833-880-1363. The third way to give is by mailing a check directly to the church. All of the information you need is on your screen now and will appear again toward the end of today's service. Every program, our different ministries, and all of the support and music and fellowship of this congregation is possible, not because we charge people to participate, not because we attach a fee to all that we do. It's all possible through our shared generosity. I hope you'll join me in making an offering in thanks for all that UUCSS means to you. Earlier this morning, during our ritual of remembrance, we saw pictures of some people we've loved and lost. During the offertory, we will see some more pictures. The offering will now be given and received with gratitude.
May the gifts we have given fuel the flame of our commitment, empower us to serve out our mission, and give the life we share the shape of love, truth, and justice.
Good morning. Thank you for being here with us today. My name is Robin Moore-Lasky and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of the UU Church of Silver Spring. Our church is not only the organization that puts together Sunday services. We are a vibrant community of volunteers and staff, a member of the Unitarian Universalist Association, and a part of the global UU denomination. Visitors are welcome to join us at virtual coffee hour after the service to learn more about us. Today, I have 3 announcements. The first announcement is to invite you to register for Jubilee virtual training. This life-changing weekend, we will deepen our understanding of how race and ethnicity play out in our institutions and daily lives and learn how to take a leading role in building a multicultural future. The training is happening the second weekend of November, and it includes presentations, discussions, videos, exercises, small group work, and shared meals. The 2.5-day workshop is open to anyone who wishes to journey toward making a stand against racism. Church members, leaders of any faith, and non-church members are all welcome. The link to register can be found in the weekly all-church email, on the UUCSS Facebook page, and in the UUCSS Google Group IO. Enrollment is limited, so sign up today. The cost to participate is $160 per person, and there are discounts for multiple members of the same household. Scholarships are available, so please contact Reverend Kristen if a scholarship would help you participate. Our second announcement is for parents. This afternoon at 4 o'clock, Reverend Kristen will lead a share and support Zoom conversation for parents who have children living with them at home. Every family's school and work situation is different, but the pandemic has made things especially challenging for parents. If you would like to talk with other parents about your experience right now, I hope you'll take part. The link can be found in this morning's all-church email. Our final announcement is about Halloween. In the spirit of celebrating the spookiness and color that is Halloween, the Religious Education Program will host a haunted Halloween drive-through event next Saturday, on Saturday, October 31st, from noon to 2 p.m. Members and families are invited to decorate your cars, decorate yourselves, wear masks, and drive through the haunted hallows of UUCSS. All children and youth who participate and who wear protective face masks will receive a treat bag filled with Halloween-themed crafts and goodies. We hope to see you there. We're thankful for all the activities that enrich and enliven our beloved community. Thanks so much.
Well, well, well. It must be that time of year.
Get ready. We're porpoisely giraffing you wild and crazy for our auction this year.
Hi, I'm Maggie Hayes. Let's make this year's auction fun and accessible for everybody, including those on a tight budget. I used to offer 12 salads over a year to one lucky family for a very hefty bid. This year, I'm offering 1 salad in January, 1 in February, and so on, $25 each for 12 lucky households. I'm also offering even more salad recipes in this booklet for $10 a piece. Let's get creative.
In addition to fixed price items, you can donate an online or virtual item like a Zoom dance party or a cooking demonstration or an online game or movie night or maybe a lesson. How about drawing with colored pencils or maybe yoga or some kind of craft or some other thing that you're really good at. You could do a lesson.
So in addition, you can also, like years past, donate cool or useful items, new or gently used. donate gift cards to restaurants or other stores that need our support. Gift baskets. Create a gift basket like Chocolate Lovers gift basket, or a Top Chef gift basket, or a basket of Legos for kids, or books. Donate a service. If you're great with gardening, donate some gardening time. Donate services like handyman services. Oh, also you can have in-person outings. Outdoor events such as hikes or gather around a fire pit, have an outdoor socially distanced happy hour. There's so many things you can donate.
We're all wishing that this is a unicorn or unusual kind of year, but with the coronavirus or COVID-19 pandemic, we need to be careful about all in-person aspects of the auction. This includes in-person events and delivering items that bidders have won. Please be sure to read the UUCSS Coronavirus COVID-19 Safety Guidelines when planning your donations. They are based on government guidelines. Note that UUCSS facilities cannot be used for auction events.
Accommodations to our Tobacco Road tour to adjust to the pandemic, including making sure that all the stops were outdoors, people wore masks, and were appropriately physically distanced. And because we were distanced, we asked everybody to download a walkie-talkie app for their phone called Zello. And this allowed people to hear our tour guide even when they weren't standing right next to him. And this was particularly helpful for those of us who are hard of hearing, and allowed folks to walk the grounds or be in their cars and still hear the color commentary.
Join us for a Zoom meeting to talk about ideas and answer your questions. Now remember, November 1st through 15th is when you're going to submit your donations online. More information later. And remember, December 5th through the 13th is the actual date for the auction.
We're not lying. We're counting on you to come up with some wild and crazy ideas for our auction.
We're very excited about the auction, and we hope you are too.
Wake now, my senses, and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving, as love shows us how. Wake now, my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now, my conscience, with justice thy guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place. God's love embraces the whole human race. Wake now, my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway of radiance here. Mingle my calling
Please join me in the words of chalice extinguishing. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Blessed be.
The Reverend Dr. Mark Morrison Reed has said that what we need to fear is not death, but squandering the lives we have been miraculously given. So let me die laughing. He goes on to say, but today, just remind me that I am dying so that I can live, savor, and love with all my heart. May it be so. Our worship has ended, and now our service begins.